Hey guys, it's Soulfat here, giving you the Demonology POV of my first Mythic Neltharion kill, Echo of Neltharion, and Aberrus the Shadow Crucible. So first things first, you're going to want to play Demonology for this fight. It's just better than the other two specs. Um, Most importantly, for gear, you want Iridius Fragment and Clash Trinket. After that, you want to make sure you have 4-piece, and then after that, you want to make sure you have your double Shadow Flame embellishments. After that, anything else is okay. If you don't have Clash Trinket, I'm pretty sure you would still want to play Demo in the fight. There are some logs of people playing Destruction, and I believe that's mainly for consistent damage on the phase 2 ads, but at least for my group, our damage on phase 2 ads was never really an issue. In terms of the build, you want to play the hybrid AoE single target with Nether Portal and Implosion. You don't really get a ton of value out of this in phase 1 and 2, but the ads that spawn in P3 are a major priority as they absolutely truck the tanks, so that's why we want the bit of cleave here with Implosion, Dreadlash, and Houndmaster Stratagem. Other things to consider, you can run the Corrupting Rage file here, but um, I don't know, there's a lot of damage going out, so the Tepid Verse Flask is probably the safer option. Alright, let's get into the VOD. Pre-pull stuff here. You want, the gateway position is very specific here. Our blue marker is where we start pulling the boss. There's this little like, I don't know, kind of looks like a lip here, a little oval here. There's a like notch on the side of the oval that you put your start of the gate to, and there's a little like um, a smaller, like almost triangle type shape on the other end in front of our moon and next to our X marker. It's very specific for that placement. Otherwise, I have a circle placed here for if I get a line or if I get the first set of bombs. I guess I can get. Let's just get started. Alright, so we're gonna start off with the normal pre-pull stuff. Shadow Bolt. We have two Demon Bolt charges. You do not lust on pull for this fight, so that does kind of suck for your first ramp, but it is what it is. Alright, so I got first bomb here. This is kind of a good example of what's going to happen for the first P1 and P2 of this fight. So we have this little like honeycomb weak aura here that tells us exactly where to go. That is accompanied by this list weak aura here. So because of the change they made going into Dragonflight where weak auras cannot detect auras, you had to use 2 weak auras for this. Instead of, before we probably would have been able to do this with 1, you just would have like some spot on the map would have just lit up green with where you need to go. But so first you look at this map and you count the number of bombs. There's always going to be 5 bombs, and you count which one you are. So our mage here is 1, I am 2. That means I am going over to spot number 2 on the map. This is the weak aura that we use. There are a couple other different ones floating around. It's kind of just whatever you think would work best for your group. It's also important to know that at the time of this kill, the bombs were literally hotfixed like 20 minutes before we killed it to be significantly smaller. So it is much more forgiving if you're slightly out of position. Before that hotfix, it was very, very specific. You needed to be in the exact correct spot in order to make sure that everybody else who didn't get a bomb was safe. But this is why we also pre-position the circle. So see, the bomb will go off, we get close, and we circle back in. For P1, I pretty much always put down a circle whenever we're in a new quadrant of the room, just in case I either get the rushing darkness that knocks us back, or if I get a bomb. I believe on our kill though, that was the only P1 bomb I got. Something else to keep in mind, I'm usually pretty ethical about burning rush and toggling it on and off whenever it's needed, but there's a lot of very specific movement in this fight, and I find it a lot easier to just keep burning a rush on for pretty much the entirety of the fight up until P3, unless I'm feeling like in danger for any reason, then I'll toggle it off. But you really, I don't know, it just feels a lot better with it on. We're just going through the motions here. Nothing really too crazy to think about. This boss does truck the tanks, so you want to make sure you have weakness on at all times. There we go. Here's the darkness, and then I portaled or circled right back, so I can get to the safe spot easier. I guess I'll talk about cooldown timings here. This is extremely group dependent. So you're gonna see me sit on this next Tyrant and Felguard for an entire minute and a half until my second Nether portal. That's because P1 isn't a DPS check at all. In fact, we hold DPS in P1, so there's no reason for me to need to send this Tyrant to pad my DPS. That's literally just going to make everybody else have to hold DPS even longer. And also, every time you Tyrant after the 130 mark, that's going to set up your next Nether portal to be a bit scuffed, or it might be a bit delayed. And the timings are very specific here, so I opted to not even use the second Tyrant, just hold it to ensure that my 3-minute Nether portal, when we're going into P2, is juiced, and I don't have to worry about anything. It does feel kind of bad, but it's what worked best for our team, and what worked best for me. Obviously, like there are logs of Warlocks sending their shit on cooldown, and they're gonna perform better than me in terms of like raw output, just because of that, but granted, this was also a terrible pull for me in P3, and we'll go into that later. But always do what's best to ensure that your guild gets the kill. Like, nobody cares about parsing, especially on a first kill. So, like, right here, we're about to call, like, hold damage. So, that would have been pretty much, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds after my Tyrant ran off, and, like, yeah, I'd be higher in the meters, but again, who cares? This fourth Echoing Slam is pretty dangerous. You want to make sure you have a personal up for that. If you get the bomb right before that, it is very scary, but I didn't in that case, so just buffing Dark Pact was okay. So we held DPS there and pushed right when those lines came up, because the boss pushes to P2 at 60%, so we were able to milk it for about 2% there. Now we're getting set up for my next Nether portal. If I did end up Tyranting at the 130 mark, this Nether portal would have been delayed by maybe 5 or 10 seconds, and that would have fucked up everything else. Unfortunately, I got a lot of bombs in P2, so this ramp was kind of scuffed, and that obviously sucks, but it's more important to get to your spot. You could, if I was being greedy here, you could have cheated over after the nerfs to the bombs, as there's more room for error, but there's no reason to do that. Again, P2 is also not really a DPS check, so you just want to make sure you get into that spot and plant. Yeah, so you can see this massive save space here before the hotfixes. It was like a pixel stack, like right under the boss was a safe spot. It was very important that you would get to your spot, but much more lenient now. That's still probably going to be where a majority of the prog comes in, is this transition upcoming from the first ad to the second ad. Something to note too, I'll go back a little bit. I opted to, again, this is kind of based off of our group's damage composition, but I ramped the boss here instead of the ad because I found that the ad was getting nuked down already anyway, so why not pump into the boss as much as I can and ensure he gets to 35%, which is his hard cutoff in P2. Alright, so here's where we're going to set up the gate. If the gate is not in that particular spot where I set it up from at the beginning, you'll be LOS'd here from the other gate. So that's why it's very important that you set up the gate correctly. Might have wiped that once or twice, but you know, it happens. Yeah, we got another bomb here. Very, very unfortunate. 0 uptime there because the boss is LOS'd, but it is what it is. Again, just get to the position. Here I am focusing the the ad down, mostly because we don't really have a lot of cooldowns going into this ad. Granted, I'm a Demo Warlock outside of cooldowns right now, so I'm doing what, like probably 45, 50k DPS on it, but every little bit helps. I think I get this next bomb too. Yep. Very, very bad bombs in P2 for me, but whatever. Get the kill. Same thing here. This is just following the weak ore and going where you need to go. Alright, so here you want to make sure the boss is immune after he goes to 35% health, so pushing into P3 is dependent on killing this third ad here. You kind of don't want to do it as fast as you can because you want a good lust timing, which would be at about 6 to 6:05. I think we got that timing here. I will note, I'm doing the same thing here. I'm holding this Tyrant and Grimoire Felguard for my third Nether portal. Again, it feels bad. I could have done much more damage if I would send it on this ad, much more damage overall, but it's more important to have the next Nether portal, especially with Pot, lined up for Lust to make sure that that boss is getting blasted in P3. That is the most important part of this fight. After the nerfs to the bombs, it's literally just a DPS check from P3 onwards, and yeah, that's why I decided to hold this Tyrant here. That's another bomb. Yeah, this was a really, really bad pull for bombs. I would have much rather gotten the bombs in P1 than the bombs in P2, but it is what it is. Alright, so we're going to P3. I don't really do anything crazy in P3. I did mess up my Nether portal ramp a little bit, which was kind of rough, but it is what it is. You can hold this Fellstorm for when the first set of the Demonic Strength for when the first set of ads come out, just to make sure that they die. And next we have another bit of a spaceship weak aura. So this is gonna be, there's 1 through 20 positions and A through G positions. Sometimes 1 through 20 doesn't show up, so you need to go through 10 A through G. Sometimes an A through G doesn't show up. It's kind of dependent on the boss positioning. I am number 20, so I'm going to pre-position next to my portal here. The big difference between Mythic and Heroic is everybody needs their own portal, and if you are overlapping with somebody else, one of you will die. As well as that, every time Evan Destruction goes off, you get a dot, a permanent dot. So, yeah, that kind of is, it is what it is. We're just going here and we're going to get ready to ramp and lust right after this Evan Destruction. Don't really need any personals for this first one, it doesn't hurt too bad. Here's where I messed up pretty bad. I popped Power Siphon and I wasted the 2 Demon Bolt charges because I was low on shards, but I should have just Shadow Bolted a bit instead of doing that, so my Nether portal was a bit scuffed. It's also important here to make sure you watch out for the Rushing Darkness during this ramp because you will get silenced if you're in line with them, and obviously that would royally fuck your ramp. It is a bit unfortunate that I'm also number 20, as that is by far the furthest away portal from the boss at any given time, so but I got my ramp off okay. I imagine one of the Tyrant hits got immuned, yeah, but it is what it is. From here, you do want to use a person on the second one, so I use Dark Pact there. I imagine I'll use Unending Resolve on the third. This one's a little sketchy here. So you can see I'm number 20, and here I am over here. 20 is, there's 3 portals in my way from 20. So I'm going to go ahead and put a gateway down there. You do still take damage from hopping over them. It's like 60k a second when you're hopping over them, so it's not insignificant. And at this point, it's kind of just do whatever you can to live. So I got into the portal a little early there, but I just wanted to make sure that I lived and didn't risk anything. Got a little dicey here at the end, but we killed it. Overall, it was a pretty fun fight. It should be much more enjoyable to prog if you are getting to it after these hotfixes. Progging before the hotfixes was an absolute nightmare. But hey, we got through it. And there we go. Boss is dead. Yeah, pretty bad pull from me in terms of overall damage. I still did alright in terms of P3 damage, which I guess is the only damage that really matters. Um, but a lot of this fight just comes down to what your group needs. Does your group need more P1 damage? Then send that second tyrant there. Does your group need more P2 damage? Then send that second tyrant there as well. Obviously, don't do what I did in P3 and mess up your nether portal ramp. That was a big mistake. But um, boss is dead. That's all that matters. Uh, if you want to check out any of our Starkareth prog, check me out at twitch.tv/soulfattv. Otherwise, I'll check you guys later. Thank you very much.